Kia ora koutou. Welcome back, guys. Welcome to this episode of Idle Heroes. Today we're going to go through the Fortress faction. Again, just bear in mind, guys, these are my opinions, and I have not been able to test out all the heroes. Fortress has a lot more diversity than the Shadow faction. And it's not the same case where the latest three heroes are the best. In my opinion, the top three heroes in Fortress, in no particular order, the top three heroes would be Unimax, Penny, and Sigmund, in my opinion. The Penny and Unimax are probably the best options to push as a first hero. Unimax is someone I haven't had the opportunity to really test out, and everyone touts him as being only a endgame PvP hero. From what I understand, though, from someone from Truck in our Discord channel who has built him, has pushed to death in Aspen with a E1 Unimax, which E1, making it to death, is very cheap. So he's a great option for pushing there. And then he's going to synergize with so if, say, you take, after talking about Shadow, if you take Horus up as your first E5, Horus doesn't shine very well in Aspen Dungeon, but him and Unimax combined, Unimax is another warrior, so they're going to both benefit from the same tech, as well as Garuda, who is currently one of the best dual PvP and PvE heroes. Again, Garuda is a warrior who will benefit from the same tech as those two. Garuda is great for, like I said, PvP and PvE. Just unfortunately, Forest Seal Land is one of the hardest, and she basically has no use. She's pretty bad in Aspen Dungeon. Because she needs a team to build up her feathers to do that big burst damage, and she needs people to die to heal. So she's much better in a team environment, which is not what you get in Aspen. But back to Fortress. I digress. Penny is a fantastic first E5. She excels in I wouldn't say she excels, but she's great in PvP. She is going to do wonders for you in Brave Trials early game and right through until like when you get her to your first E5. At the moment on my mini account, she's still basically the only, unless I come up against myself, then I put in a couple extras, but I just put her in and basically just smash my way through Brave Trials, and it's super easy. She, at E3 on my mini account, I managed to use her to push to Hell in Aspen. She can push to Death. For pushing Aspen, as you get higher, with the potions that you get, they're going to boost your crit damage, and attack. So she doesn't necessarily need a crit artifact to push an Aspen. You're going to be better off with, in my opinion, either, if you have it, a great Aspen artifact for her is Kiss of Ghost. Otherwise, a cheaper option is like Nail of Destiny or any damage to warrior artifact. is going to be a great option on Penny for trying to push Aspen. And she is definitely very good in Seal Land. At E5, basically by herself, I've managed to push up to Seal Land 14. You can easily push to 20, but it does require a bit of an investment in support. So you need generally that you can do it with a little bit less, but the easiest is going to be with 3 10-star Emilys, and a 7-star Valentino, and a 5-star Valentino. That's sort of going to be the easiest way to push, and then you can invest those 10-star Emilys as fodder as soon as you get to Seal Land 20 into another hero that you should hopefully have been able to build up at least to like 10-star in the background, and have the copies of just sitting there waiting, and then you can just E5 them. And then if you want, you can regress your Penny at that point. I've kept mine on my main account because I just kind of like crit-based heroes, even though Penny is very RNG-based. And I'm thinking about making a crit team just to run as like a secondary team in IDA and Trial of Champion. The way you want to build Penny is just her stone. You want to build it crit attack with, for PvP, a crit-based artifact, or PvE, you have a few options. It will just sort of depend on what you're up against. After Penny, next up in line, just going backwards in order, is Shah, or Shia, or however you pronounce it. I don't know. She has really good single target damage. I've never built one before her rework, just because of at the time, a lot of the heroes that are out now weren't out. She was a lot better, and you could use her as a frontline tank. Now she's quite squishy, not as useful as a frontline tank, would be more of a niche build, and someone that you just build because you like the look of her and she's fun to play around with. She will have synergy with the Wolf Pet because she does bleed damage, and you could find a space on maybe a team with Delacium if you don't have a Nakia or someone to provide that bleed, a Horus even. Shia could be a good pickup there. She just happens to be one of assassins and idle heroes are just sort of bad in general. A lot of them need looking at and reworking. She can do quite high damage in PvE as well, though, because she has the highest base attack in the game, and she has a high percentage damage on her active just for the base damage, as well as the bleed having a high percentage as well. Moving on, Valentino. Valentino has fallen off a lot. You will need him, though, just to make Seal Land, if you're pushing with just a Penny and trying to do it minimally. You will need a Valentino in your lineup because he provides valuable CC, as well as Overload, which is going to give you more opportunities to stun just as your team use their active skills. Valentino is not the biggest damage dealer. He's going to do decent for you early game, but he is really mainly just a CC hero now, and stun has kind of fallen off as being it used to be one of the best CC in the game. And then they've introduced a number of new like crowd control types, as well as ways to get rid of that crowd control. So Valentino has just sort of fallen off quite a lot and is not as useful as he used to be. But he is a decent option if you have no copies of anyone else. Sigmund, everyone's going to get one at the end of the first month from the sign-in. Sigmund is one of the best PvE heroes in the game. He provides great utility in PvE. He has burning damage, so he synergizes well with Phoenix, which is the most popular pet, or monster, sorry. He strips armor, and he also just does really good damage. So he provides utility in the sense that he's going to make the rest of your team do more damage. He provides synergy with the Phoenix, and his damage itself is no joke. Early game, he's going to actually be pretty decent for you in PvP, and he's going to maximize and just do a lot of damage for you in the guild raids. So Sigmund is a great early game hero, and then late game he transitions into being one of the best PvE heroes. So you could rush him as your first 10-star. It's going to sort of boost your progress by getting you a lot of guild coins. But I wouldn't take him to E5 as your first E5 hero. I think Penny is the best in faction, so in Fortress, she is the best person to take as your first E5. And then right behind her, I would say, would be Unimax. After Sigmund, you have Flamestrike. Flamestrike is not a great hero. She has burn synergy, so she'll help your team do more damage and synergize with Phoenix. She can do decent burst damage. She is similar to the way I described some of the heroes in Shadow, like Bade. Early game, you can take her up to 6-star. She's going to do pretty decent for you. But beyond that, she is not a great hero, and you shouldn't waste resources investing in her. So take her to 6-star, then use her as a 6-star fodder to up someone else who's better. Or if you get copies of no one else, take her up to 9 or 10-star if you like, and then again, don't take her beyond that. I would say Unimax and Penny and Sigmund, the main three. Like I said, they're the best 3 in Fortress that I would take beyond 10-star. Emily is a really great support hero because she is going to boost your team's attack and reduce the enemy team's armor. So she just increases the team's damage by a lot, as well as giving them a speed boost with her active, which is great in PvP. She's going to be necessary if you're going the Penny route to push higher up in Seal Land. And she's also really good in Mim Cheese teams because of this passive, she's going to boost Mim's damage. That's really it, though. I just don't really like Emily out. She's not a bad hero. Don't take her past 10-star. She's really just a support. And like I said, she has sort of limited uses. Outside of that, she will boost your team's damage in PvE, but there are better options for doing that. So really, it's just for Seal Land or a Mim Cheese. Ormus, Again, one of those heroes that I don't like, but he is a fantastic support. Overall, he probably provides the most healing in the game, and has become a lot better since his rework. With Ormus, you can take him above 10-star. You can make him an enabled hero. Again, like I said in the Shadow video, I wouldn't recommend building up a support hero until you have at least 2 to 3 E5 heroes who are going to push other areas of the game for you and provide you with damage. Outside of healing, Ormus doesn't provide much, which is the reason I don't like him. He just doesn't have enough utility. Moving on, ODO1. ODO1 is very niche. If you're coming up, he used to be a lot better when, say, like when Vesa was the main threat or the meta hero. ODO1 was a good tech option because he is similar to Lutz. He has a 100% chance to stun, but it's priests. Really, you're just sort of going to build him as fodder. Outside of that, he doesn't do much and is going to be sort of a waste of resources. So you can take him up to 6-star, use him as a 6-star fodder, or if you're later in the game, take him to 9 or 10 and use him for that. Mickey. Now, I wasn't around, but apparently Mickey used to be one of the best heroes in the game. I wasn't playing at that time. Now she doesn't really do a lot. She don't bother with Mickey. She's going to be food. Early game, she can provide you with a little bit of damage. And any 6-star is going to be better than a 5-star. So if you have the copies and you want to take her up to 6-star early on, that's totally fine. Don't take her beyond that unless you have the copies, and don't take her anywhere above 10-star. I wouldn't recommend making her as your first 10-star. I would say take her to 6, then use her as food for another hero, a better hero, if you get one. Mirage. I actually kind of like Mirage. He is a terrible hero, though. You might think he's decent because he, in the Aspen Dungeon, Mirage Waves do a lot of damage. He is going to provide a bleed on his basic attack, and that will synergize with the wolf monster. But he just doesn't do that much. He does have an attack steal, which is useful. So he can help sort of increase your team's survivability. He's going to be one of those early game heroes that you don't take outside of the early game. Bleaker has got a little bit of utility. He has a chance to stun backline enemies when he dies. He has a chance to stun on his basic and on his active attack, or active skill. He also has a decent chance to stun. You can use him as sort of like a tech option for if you don't get the Valentino copies. You can put Bleaker in, use him in Seal Land to get the CC off. I would say if you're going to go that route, put him in your slot 1. Because, like I said, when he dies, he has a potential to stun. Outside of that, Bleaker isn't going to do much for you. Ice Blink, again, one of those heroes who used to be a great hero. Again, I wasn't around during that meta. He was sort of like a frontline hero because he gains attack and reduces the enemy's attack when he takes damage. And he's going to provide synergy with the apparition of the ice monster. And he will provide you with a little bit of CC. Again, you can still use him in the early game. Basically, you can use anyone early game if you get the copies of them. Like I said, any 6-star is going to be better than a 5 most of the time. A lot of people have like Ice Blink and are sad that he is useless because, you know, he used to be their carry hero in the 10-star meta. But like I said, I wouldn't invest in taking him anywhere past 10-star. And I wouldn't even take him up to 10-star as a first hero unless you have no other options. Honor Guard will provide a little bit of CC, will provide your team with a little bit of a buff in armor. So when this last passive, Blood Armor, when he drops below 50% HP, he increases your team by 100% of armor for 3 rounds. And his active is what is going to give him a chance to stun the back line. He is going to be a frontline tank. Again, I wouldn't recommend building him as your first 10-star, but if you do, he's not going to be that bad. And that is really it for the Fortress faction. So to conclude, the main good heroes here are going to be Unimax, Penny, Sigmund, and then the honorable mentions. I would really say there's 4 potential honorable mentions in Ormus as a healer, Emily as a support who will boost your team's damage, reduce the enemy's armor, and boost your team's speed with her active. Valentino for CC, and Shah or Shia, however you pronounce it, can do potentially good damage in PvE and provide a bleed synergy. Again, let me know if you disagree with any of my comments, think I missed anything out, should add anything. I really appreciate it when you guys give me feedback and help me grow as a content provider. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate it. Ka kite.